So let's get into it. All right, so this girl is saying her number one relationship advice for someone who has extremely high standards unapologetically, right? And obviously, we're seeing the extremes of what it means to have standards in a relationship, but we do want to hear what the overall extremes are. And when it is getting promoted on social media, how does that affect the mindset of those that are listening to this type of content?
How does he make my life better or easier? What does he do for me? If you can't immediately give me a laundry list of he cooks for me, he cleans for me, he takes me to these experiences, he teaches me things, he brings me friends and family or new people in my life that make my life better, he encourages me to be active, he encourages me to pursue my dreams. Like, if you can't immediately start listing these things, and these are literally things my fiance does for me, you should rethink about things. And when I was in prior relationships that I really felt like I liked this person, if someone were to ask me, what do they do for my life? What am I benefiting from this situation? It would be very hard for me to answer. I'd be like, oh, I actually think they benefit a lot from me. I don't really know what I benefit from this situation. You will know if you're with the right person or if you're with in the right relationship if you can easily and quickly answer the question of what does this relationship bring for you.
And yes, I do believe that you have to look for the benefits in being in a relationship. You definitely do have to encourage people to want to see why a relationship is worth even being in. However, I do think there comes a point where you can lead to a mindset where you're looking for all the things that someone benefits you, but you forget about the components of how a relationship could be beneficial for that person, right? Like, what are you bringing to that relationship, and how are you benefiting them in their life, right? And if you don't have that mindset and you're just you're only focused on how does this person benefit you, I think you start to lose track of what it means to be in a relationship, right? Because then everybody's just thinking about how does this benefit me, and if it's not changing my life or if it's not causing for a drastic shift in who I am, then it's not worth it, right? But sometimes as individuals we have to be able to say, okay, as an individual, am I progressing in my own life in a way that is moving towards those same goals that you're looking for in a partner, right? Being successful, being able to be independent, have your own friend groups. Those things are important because when you're coming together as a couple, you want to ensure that both parties are benefiting from being in that relationship, right?
If it's hard for you to think about things or you can only think about what you do for them, it's either a one-sided relationship or a relationship you should not be in. My advice is definitely more centered towards women, but I just believe, especially if you are a young woman in a relationship, you should be significantly benefiting. Whether or not you're benefiting financially, emotionally, spiritually, like whatever it is, you should be benefiting. I always tell my friends, before my relationship, even though I was already in an okay spot in my career and my life and my social life, all these things, being with my current partner has made my life infinitely better. I'm able to save more because he picks up the bill more. I'm able to be more emotionally sound because he takes off my load. I can be myself with him. He listens to me. I feel seen. He unpacks my trauma with me. Like, he approaches me with genuine curiosity. Physically, he encourages me to be active. We do a lot of trips together. We explore together. Socially, he brings me to a lot of cool experiences, and I'm just such a more well-rounded person with him. So yes, I'm in the relationship because I love him, but I'm also in the relationship because I am significantly benefiting from it. My life is significantly better being in this relationship.
Now, as I said, if you're aiming this towards women, how they're looking at it from their perspective, as I said, I 100% agree, benefit from it. But at the same time, we cannot lose the aspect of what you're contributing, right? Because I do think it is very important to still understand how you're moving, how you're contributing into that relationship, because it gets to a point where as a man you're like, okay, that sounds great, you're benefiting significantly, but how are you telling women like, okay, this is also the standards that I have for myself in order to ensure that I'm able to secure that kind of man, right? So those are that's kind of the balance that needs to be had on both sides from men and women, is to say, okay, like I bring this to the table, but how am I benefiting, as she's saying, how am I benefiting from this person, but how am I also contributing in a way that can benefit the relationship?
Relationship than not being in this relationship. Because in my head, I'm like, why would you want to be in a relationship if you're not benefiting in one of those areas? Again, love is not enough. If you want to love something, go get a dog. Like, go love your dog. But to be with an actual person and the amount of work, love, and effort it takes, you better be benefiting. Your life better be better. And if not, it's a waste of your damn time, especially if you are a young girl. I literally tell my friends, I'm like, these men out here and people will get away with murder if they can. They will use and abuse. Like, I've been in relationships and I've seen my friends in relationships where they just get used and abused. Like, they get taken advantage of, their time, their effort, their social status, everything, and they don't benefit anything from the relationship. The minute you realize like you are the prize, especially as a young girl, people literally pay young girls just to go out and have dinner with them. Like, they just want your energy, your presence. You are the prize. You don't need to do anything. Like, people just want to be around you. You just make men's lives better. And the faster you realize all men really care about is two things: making money and women. Like, once you realize that you are the prize.
Okay. Now, you had me in the first half. You really did, right? You had me in the first half. But then now, as a man, you're hearing that, like, you literally don't have to do anything. Like, at that point, it's like, I see what you're saying in benefiting, right? But like at the same time, where's my part of the deal though? Like, I mean, if we're both gonna sign this contract to say like, yo, like we gotta be in this relationship together, where do I benefit, right? If you're telling me like you don't have to do anything, like you can just end up with a man, and you better have these standards in order to get the man that you want, because if you're not benefiting from it, then there's no point in being in the relationship, right? But then for a man, you hear this and you're like, okay, but then where do I benefit? If it's not beneficial for you, unless you're significantly benefiting from me, then what do I get in the end of the deal, right? You're saying you don't have to do anything, so I don't know.
And like, you just being there is enough. Like, that is enough for men to want to go to work and work 12 hours a day and provide this life and do everything just so they can come home to a woman and give them loving and nurturing energy, and make them a home and make them all this emotional support, everything. Like, once you realize that all you need to do is just be you and then benefit from a situation, life is a lot more clear and you will attract the man that will do that for you. I don't know where we went off on this tangent, but this is my relationship.
Listen, guys, I mean, if you're hearing this, I know she's saying she's catering this towards women, but if you're hearing this, fellas, just understand that if you're going to make that decision in order to have those high standards and cater, and do not set your own standards, your own boundaries to, be in that relationship, is going to cause for a situation where they're solely benefiting in the relationship, and you start to get a little bit lost in what's actually happening, right? And that's where I think it could impact your relationship further on down the line, because at the end of the day, there's gonna come challenges, there's gonna come situations where you're going to need that person to be able to contribute in a way that may be a little less direct work and more of the intangibles, and they're not able to provide that for you because their sole focus is to be benefiting within that relationship, right?